Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Legal Matters Show with me, Ejaz Ali, and my special guest today, Sejal Karavadra. You're listening to Ramadan Radio Wolverhampton and also watching on Facebook, I would say. We will be discussing everything about immigration today, so I don't have a fixed schedule of questions, but Sejal, who is our immigration expert and head of immigration at our firm, I thought I'll bring her along. Last couple of years, Sejal, I think you've been on the phone to us or on Zoom to us, so it's good to actually see you after a while. Welcome, Sejal.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here after, like you said, last couple of years, I think I've done telephone calls and Zoom
Telephones and
calls.
Zoom, yeah. So, but yeah, we've still utilised you even then.
Yes.
Yeah, how's it? How is it to being in the studio?
It's nice to be here and to meet the team. So it's good to see everybody
Yeah.
and put a face to the voice.
Um, so Sejal, as I said, we're discussing many aspects of immigration law today. Firstly, and I would say the best thing to be discussing would be the likes of what most of the listeners would be focusing on or be interested in, I should say, more to the point. Um, Visit visas, spouse visas. What is the. Uh, okay, could you bring the mic closer to you? I've just had a message through that people can't hear you properly.
Oh, no. You
Right.
don't want that. I'm the one giving the advice.
Exactly. Everyone knows I'm a bit of a loudmouth myself, anyhow. So, um, So, Sejal, what do you want to start with? Shall we start with spouse visas? Are there any updates, or is it just still the same? And if it is still the same, what is the same?
It is still the same. The only difference that's not a recent change, but obviously once we left Europe, Brexit happened. The situation now is that obviously anybody wanting to come over from Europe would have to meet those requirements as well, unless you come under the original rules and you were here prior, your partner was here prior to the December 2020 exit stage. So that's the only change that's really happened, but you still have to meet the relationship requirements that, you are married, you've met. That's a very important one, actually.
It is.
Yes, because I've had a few people recently come to me who, due to COVID, haven't actually met. They've been introduced by family. They've had the video calls. They've had telephone calls and all of that. And they want to come over on fiancé visas to get married here in the UK. Now, the fiancé visa and the marriage visa, the spouse visa, are very, very similar. The only difference that I usually see is with the marriage visa, you need the marriage certificate. With the fiancé visa, you need to show that you do want to get married. So you've got these people who are wanting to come over here to get married here in the UK, but they haven't met. If they haven't met, they don't meet the requirements. So that's really important. And unfortunately, there's no COVID concessions to that. You would have to have met in whichever country as long as you've met once.
It's funny you should say that. It's going about 6 months or 7 months now. I was approached by someone to see if we could advise them on their immigration, and when I prodded a bit and asked, well, okay, when did you get married? I think the answer was, well, we're getting married in the next couple of days. Um, and I said, well, oh, so you're flying over? No, no, we're doing it over the phone. I said, well, I think the last time that was allowed was probably in the 80s. Uh, but as far as the UK immigration law is concerned, the rules are concerned, that's not allowed anymore.
Well, there's one exception to that.
Oh, is there?
There is. You can have a proxy marriage, but it has to be legal in the country that it's taking place.
Oh,
So
interesting.
places like Ghana and that, they allow proxy marriages to take place, and because it's a legal um, ceremony there in Ghana, it's accepted here in the UK. But you
So,
have to be able to show that it's legal in the country that it took place.
wow. Okay. That's
So,
interesting. That's interesting.
but
So,
you still got to have met.
yes. Yeah, yeah. So my next point was going to be, well, how can you prove a subsisting relationship if you've not met? Um,
You can, because some people have only met that once, and then their relationships continued over telephone, WhatsApp. You've got all the social media outlets, and you have to provide a large amount of proof of that ongoing contact with
hmm.
each other. So you're saying, but that's the only way that people are able to show that
Yes.
they've
No, no, no.
got
That's
that
right. No, I'm
relationship.
I'm saying the reason I was saying whom is actually a different reason. I in my head I was starting to see, well, what would the average, say for instance, the average Asian do if they knew that okay, I can't get married here, but I might be able to go to a visa-free country and get, you know, married over there. It's
But
just
but there, it depends on what the country's regulations are. So,
mm,
are you able to get married in that way in that country? Because when a proxy marriage usually takes place, it's the two families that have usually come together and done a ceremony, and the two actual bride and groom aren't actually even there.
yeah.
So it's the two families that come together. Is that really going to be a possibility within the Asian countries to go over to a
I
different
doubt it.
country?
No, I doubt it.
So
Okay,
I
sorry.
find
It's just my mind was running wild, as it often does when I start thinking about different ways and means of applying
helping.
the law or helping people. Um,
I think it would be just as easy then to go out to a
yes,
country and
of
get
course,
married
of course, yeah,
there
of
itself,
course.
especially if you've got to meet at
No, I
least
was
once
thinking.
anyway.
No, I was thinking the other way around. It's not the person from over here. If, for instance, the person from over here could not go for some reason, but the person from, say, let's say, I don't know, we'll use Pakistan as a example. So someone from Pakistan obviously can't come over here without a visa, but I'm not entirely sure which, because there are visa-free countries for Pakistan, or countries where they can get visa upon arrival. Not many, but there are some. Um, would it be easier for them to just go there and then do the proxy and then apply?
Depends if it's one of those countries,
Yeah,
and it depends on what the residence requirements are for a proxy marriage to take place as well.
yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
you'd have to look into which country they're going to for
Mm.
that. But it could be a possibility.
It is a
Could be.
possibility. I'm
I
gonna
think
I'm gonna read into it later.
with my clients that have used that, I think it's worked where they're both here in the UK,
Yes.
but they're restricted from getting married here in the UK because the Home Office is holding on to one person's passport, for example,
Right.
and they're not able to register their marriage, or the Home Office don't believe that they've got a genuine relationship and therefore won't return that passport to get married even. So in those circumstances, their families do the relationship aspect out there.
Talking about return of passports. Now, again, someone asked me a question a couple of weeks back. They'd applied for a spouse visa for their wife. Well, I spoke to an uncle of theirs, so that's why I'm confused which way around it was. For the wife, no, it was for their husband. Sorry, yeah, I was confused. For this husband, the visa was refused. They wish to reapply, but the passport's not been returned yet. They've been to the, you know, is it Jerry FedEx or whatever the outpost is over there, twice. They keep turning them back. I mean, this person's actually traveling 3 hours each time to go and visit the outpost. Apparently, they don't answer the calls, and they every time he turns up there, they send him back. So not really fair on the person, but yeah, they're now waiting on that passport so they can reapply.
Okay, normally what happens is if you get refused, they usually send an email to
Hmm.
advise you that you've been refused, and within a couple of days of that email, you'll get an email from it's usually the VFS office in Pakistan, I think,
Yeah,
that will tell you that your documents are ready to be collected.
yeah,
Now, if it's the case that they haven't returned it and he's not received any sort of emails to say that he can go and collect it, then they need to contact the UKVI here. They have a system where you have to pay, I think, about £2.74, and you can email them with whatever query you've got with regards to the application that you've made, and they usually give you a response back within 5 working days.
Okay.
So if they go through that process, advise them that, my passport hasn't been returned, it needs to be returned, then hopefully they should get a response back as to what the delay is.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's pretty much what I told them. But it's good for people to, for the listeners to learn also.
Absolutely. And if it's something here in the UK, in the Home Office have got your passport and not returning it, then there's an online form that you need to complete, which is a return of documents form, which if you put all your details in, then you can tell them which documents you want returned back to you. But what we're finding more and more now is that the Home Office don't hold on to your passports anymore.
They return them immediately,
Well,
do they?
they don't actually take them in because everybody goes for their biometrics appointments. The passport gets scanned at the place, but you're given your passport and biometrics card straight back. So they're not holding on to them anymore. It's only in some circumstances that they take the passports.
They must have realised the amount of times that they're losing them.
The black hole that they've got. Which
Yeah.
is
No, I'm sure I've seen them lose many. And then, you having to chase them, and then sometimes getting them returned, and sometimes they, disappear into the ether.
They have a big black hole that lots of documents seem to
That's a bit
disappear
embarrassing
into.
for us lawyers sometimes when we're having to tell the client that, the Home Office has lost it. But does the client believe that the Home Office lost it, or do they think that we've lost it?
Exactly. That the clients do ultimately put the blame on
on
us.
the lawyers, yeah.
So
Yeah, we're always to blame. But I believe today, anyone listening, it's Love Your Lawyer Day anyway. So, so please don't blame us for anything today. Anyhow,
I like that. Shame I've only found out at the end of the day.
well, I only found out about an hour ago on LinkedIn. Right. So should we discuss?
Well, should we go back to the original, which
Yes.
was the spouse visas?
Spouse visas.
And the requirements.
Yeah.
So-
Fire away.
Obviously, the first requirement, which we were talking about, was the relationship requirement, where you do have to prove that you've been together, that your relationship is genuine. Now, I know within our cultures, we have arranged marriages, and I have many a client who come to me and I ask them the question because it's on the form, is it an arranged marriage? And, oh, no, kind of because they're scared that it won't be accepted here because it's not a part of UK culture. But they understand that the Asian culture does have arranged marriages and it is accepted. So if you have been introduced by your parents and that's how the marriage has come about, you don't need to lie about it.
There's a lot of that happens. Definitely a lot of that happens. And I'm sometimes surprised. You're marrying your cousin, but you're telling me it's not an arranged marriage. Okay, maybe, but but I've seen it many times.
Exactly. And if it's better to be honest with them anyway. It doesn't, just because you've been introduced by your parents and you've agreed to the marriage, it doesn't mean that it's not a genuine relationship.
Of course.
So that's one thing I would say. But if you can, once you've proved your relationship, the other thing that you need to obviously prove is your English language skills. So when you're coming over to the UK, it's level A1 test that you have to do by an approved UKVI English test provider. So get that in the bag. The other bit is suitability. Now, that's to do with your character, any criminal convictions and things, any past immigration history problems.
Oh, so it's not whether the bride's suitable for the groom.
No, not on this occasion.
Or vice versa.
Home Office leave that for the families to decide. So, not on this occasion, but they look at your character and what you've done in the past and whether those things affect you.
I'm surprised we've not been asked that question yet by a client. Well, of course she's suitable.
You are the first person who's said that to me, actually. That's not come up. And the most important one, which I find, because it's a very black and white area, is financial. You have to meet the financial, which is 18,600 that your sponsor here in the UK needs to be earning annually. Now, this can be met in various ways. It can be met through employment, through self-employment, through savings. Though if it's savings, then you need to have 62,400. So 18,600 in itself wouldn't be enough. You do need to have that larger sum. And there's other things as well, like pensions, rental income. So there's various ways in which you can prove it. But the Home Office have set documents that they want to show that these things happen. Like I get a lot of clients say, well, here's my pay slips. So that should be enough, but it's not. You have to have your letter from your employer confirming all the bits and your bank statements. So they're verifying it in all the different ways.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, our community tells the people that, oh, you don't need that, or you don't need this.
Yes.
Why do I need to show this?
Yeah.
But if you don't, and they're specified documents, then they're going to refuse it just
They'll
for that
refuse it.
reason.
Yeah.
And if you've already got those documents, what's the point of hiding it? So
Of course.
those are the requirements for the spouse visa. Thankfully, there haven't been any changes at the moment. So, but the one thing that does change quite regularly, it seems, and it's tripled since it kind of started, is the immigration health surcharge that needs to
Oh,
be
has it gone up
paid.
again?
It's not gone up again, but it has since the beginning, kind of
Okay.
thing.
Yes,
hasn't
it has.
So it's keep an eye on that, because that changes more often than an application fee changes, it seems.
Well, they
So-
know that's a bit hidden, isn't it? Hidden away.
Slightly, yes. But the only good thing about it is, whether you can say it's a good thing, that one gets refunded if you've not been successful.
Yes.
But then you don't want to.
But on you say that, but on a spouse visa, for instance, the amount that you pay is not necessarily what you get refunded,
No.
because the interest.
Exchange
Exchange
rates,
rates,
and
yeah.
whatever your bank charges are as
Yeah.
well, because it's a foreign currency.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I haven't actually understood. I've yet to do a entry clearance application where you pay in pounds. It's never in pounds.
No, and I don't know why, because end of the day we're, that's our currency.
That's our currency. So, and it's usually the sponsor that's making that payment anyway. So, but it's always in a foreign currency.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that does, and it's always a lower amount that comes back.
it is.
So, yeah, I get it in the neck from clients for that as well.
But
That I paid this much, but I've only had this much back. So,
yeah, I bet you get it when they charge the bank charges as well separately. Oh, I was not aware that it was going to be.
they can't say that to me. I always tell them that these are the fees roughly,
Yeah.
because it will all depend on the exchange rate on the day and whatever your bank charge is. So in some cases, it's better if, for example, if it's from Pakistan, if they've got a Pakistani debit card or a credit card, to
Yeah.
pay from there, because at least it will be in the currency that the actual payment's going out in as well.
Oh
So-
yeah.
So that's
Oh yeah.
That would be
I
a
didn't think of that.
yeah.
I didn't think of
So
that.
then
Well,
they wouldn't have any
yeah.
exchange rates.
Yeah, that might help some of the families here as well. So the person over there is paying their own way.
The one question I do get, is she worth it? When they come in, when they find out just how much the Home Office charges for these
Yeah.
applications.
Absolutely. Guys, if anyone wants to join in on the discussion or wants to ask any questions, we are available on the phone on 01902 972 150, or you can WhatsApp your questions text WhatsApp your questions on 07440 420 432. We'd love to answer your questions. Make use of Sejal while she's here, and while she's answering the questions without asking for a fee. Right, Sejal, let's move on. We've got just over 5 minutes before we go into a break. So shall we move on to a different topic? Well, what about visit visas?
Visit visas.
Now, since the right to appeal, stopped some years ago now, I've noticed that more and more visas are being refused.
Absolutely.
Some that were not refused at that time are now being refused. If someone's had a visa previously and they're coming back again some years later, but the circumstances are reflective of what they were back then, they're still being refused. Now, say for a visitor, what's the general guidance that you would give as to what do you have to prove?
One of the main things with a visit visa is intention to return.
Yeah.
Now, the ways to show intention to return is what you've got in terms of your life back in that country.
Yeah.
So if you're working, you're studying, you've got your own business, those things all go towards showing why you would return, together with your family ties as well.
Yeah.
So if you've got your wife and children there, but you're coming on your own, or you've got your parents, the whole extended family, all of that aspect, provide proof of all of that so that you can show that you will have something to go back to. Now, the one thing that I find, though, is if somebody's got a business out there, they're saying they'll go back, for example, agricultural business, they'll go back because they've got this business, but they're coming for 6 months. It's a bit more difficult to prove that you're needed for that business if you can be away for so long. So the shorter your visit in kind of...
Absolutely. Now, what I've come across in recent months, I would say, is visa have been refused on two. Well, normally the terms are this, what you just said. No, they don't believe that you will return, and therefore that you're a genuine visitor. The grounds on which they refuse vary between either you don't have enough links to the country, i.e., if, for instance, someone wants to come over and they don't have a spouse over there or children, under the age of 18 over there, so dependents. So that's one reason they won't believe. And the other reason is if their income. Now, someone actually approached me last week or the week before. Now, their income was 40,000 rupees from Pakistan, 40,000 rupees. And they said they would be spending, I think, £1,500 over here. Sorry, my people are obviously phoning the wrong phone. So they said they would need to spend about £1,500, I suppose, ticket and whatever present they want to buy here. But they were going to be living with family here. Now, their visa got refused, and they had about 5 lakh in their account, which is about £2,000, £2,500. So that wasn't taken into account. But what the entry clearance officer said is that we do not feel that your income is, well, your income, 1 month's income reflects about, I think, 6 months, or 6 months of your income reflects that one trip, what you're going to use. So really...
That's very common.
It is common, but, what the guy said to me was, when people from here go abroad for a holiday, sometimes they don't have any income. He says sometimes they're going on a credit card. So they don't know how they're going to pay that off. My relative, he said, at least he's got an income and he knows where it's going to come from. So why is it refused? But that's the rules, I suppose.
Absolutely. No, I've seen so many refusal letters with you're spending way and above what your actual income is. And like you said, when we go away on holiday, it's a 2-week holiday, we're spending 2-3 months worth of salary.
Salary, definitely.
So if you want to have a good holiday. So the way that we've overcome this is explaining it in the applications that we put together. Now, I'm not just saying this because I am a solicitor, but I have found since the appeals process has disappeared that when you're submitting an application via a solicitor, you've got more chance of being successful.
So are you saying that brings a bit more weight to it?
Brings a bit more weight to it because that person's gone to somebody for legal advice for a start, and then all the points that could possibly come up are being rebutted by that solicitor in the first place.
Their covering letter.
If you've got somebody good, then they will put all the details into the covering letter. Because I've seen so many refusals with the fact that you're spending too much on this holiday for your salary, I would cover that in the covering letter to show exactly why that is happening. But I think it's very, very difficult now for people to prove why they would be spending that sort of money.
The death of a loved one is a very emotional and challenging time for the family members of the deceased. Al Mu'min Funeral Services have been supporting families across the UK since 2005. Their professional, experienced and quality service ensures the whole process from release from hospital to burial is taken care of respectfully and efficiently. They also specialise in worldwide repatriations, assisting to take loved ones to Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Iraq or anywhere worldwide. almu'minfunerals.co.uk, your trusted funeral service.
Do you have a family member that's passed away and you would like someone to assist you in legal advice? Kenneth Jones Solicitors has been providing legal services for businesses and individuals since 1986. We specialise in probate, Islamic wills and family law. We also offer services in conveyancing, immigration and personal injury. Contact us today on 01902 745 773 or visit us on our website at kenneth-jones.co.uk.
Betsy's Burgers taste flippin' awesome. Betsy's world famous burgers are coming soon to Wolverhampton and Wednesfield. Prepare for sizzling hot smash burgers, bubbling mac and cheese, and sensational sides. Betsy's is home to undefeated, crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside fries. Dunk your Betsy's burger in a lava hot melted cheese and get a load of our loaded fries and mouth-watering cheese-filled onion rings. The king is dead. Long live the queen. Betsy's Burgers, coming flippin' soon.
Eurofit Auto Centres, the West Midlands' leading independent auto centre, celebrating 18 years of service. All services, MOT and repairs, with a free collection and drop-off service within Wolverhampton. Book online today at eurofitautocentres.co.uk or call us on 01902 40 40 45 and we'll direct you to your nearest branch. The experts making vehicle repairs simple.
Are you in receipt of benefits and looking for cavity wall or underfloor insulation? Did you know, with Northern Gas Heating, you could get a free boiler with the insulation measure of your choice? Call 0800 083 1000 or go to northerngasheating.com to see if you're eligible. It's a quick and easy assessment. Northern Gas Heating, celebrating over 20 years in the industry. We're proud to be the UK's local central heating company.
Feeling peckish? Treat your taste buds with a range of delicious snacks and flavours of the Far East from Indus. Why not try our range of roasted nuts, dried fruit, Bombay mix and flavoured snacks? Indus by AIB Foods. Available in your local supermarkets and varied retailers. Indus, the world's finest foods.
Khan Builders offer a full range of building services, from major rebuilds to small projects, home improvements, kitchen fitting, plastering, bathroom fitting, extensions and much more. We pride ourselves on providing a professional, caring and high quality service and always meet our customers' needs. Contact Khan Builders today on 07813 950 265 for a free quotation from Khan Builders.
Pack Continental, your local best halal supermarket in Wolverhampton. Established for over 20 years, we pride ourselves on our fresh vegetables and fresh fruit. We have a variety of spices and lentils. We're also an award-winning Halal Butcher of the Year for 2 consecutive years. We supply excellent quality meat and poultry delivered fresh daily to our store. Visit us today at 1-3 Hunter Street, Wolverhampton, WV6 0QZ, or call 01902 717 792. Open 9am till 8pm Monday to Saturday and 10am till 6pm on Sundays.
Do you need planning permission and don't know where to start? Whether you're planning on extending your family home or building a new one, Footprint Design Architects are here for you. With a broad range of experience in residential, commercial and industrial architecture, we pride ourselves in offering a unique, tailored service for all our clients. For more information, visit our website www.footprintdesign.net or contact us at info@footprintdesign.net.
Ramadan's blessed days are the perfect opportunity to reach out to suffering families in the Ummah with our charity. You can do so by donating to one of Ummah Welfare Trust's many projects which are helping our brothers and sisters in Africa, Asia and the Middle East. In these difficult days, charity is one of the best ways to earn Allah's pleasure and protection. To give yours, call 0800 4 0800 11 or visit uwt.org.
This is Ramadan Radio, your local voice, your local Muslim radio. Go to RamadanRadioWolves.com and donate to your local mosque.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back after the break. Sorry, I didn't realize we were so close to a break last time. Just before the break, and we carried on talking and realized that we were into the break. Right, we were talking about visit visas. So we'll finish off on that before moving on to any other topic. In the interim, if anyone wants to call the studio and ask any questions, the number is 01902 972 150, or you can WhatsApp us your questions on 07440 420 432. Right, Sejal. So where were we on the visas? So we've said that the main on visas, the main issue has been that they don't think you'll go back, basically.
Yeah,
intention to return. Reasons given for that are generally either your income doesn't reflect your monthly salary income doesn't reflect what your spend will be, or you don't have you're not leaving enough ties to the country that you're coming from. Anything further on that?
Yeah, I think usually the best way of things working is when the sponsor from here in the UK provides their financial documents, then at least the financial elements are met quite easily from here in the UK. You can overcome your issue of you're spending too much on this holiday yourself in that respect as well, because I do find that it's usually the sponsor that's going to be paying the bulk of it in terms of ticket, etc. It's just a bit of spending money that the person coming over really needs because they'll be living with the sponsor as well. So if you can get the financial documents and everything sorted from here, that's another way to overcome the issue of you're spending too much on this holiday.
Okay.
But I think the two main issues are intention to return and are you going to be able to afford the trip? So if those two things are properly put together, then it should be successful.
You see, a lot of people want to get see their grandparents or their parents who are quite elderly, and it's much cheaper for them to try and bring them over for a month or so than the whole family, husband, wife, 2, 3, 4 kids to go over. But the problem there again is that the Home Office will say, well, what ties do you have? Why would you return? So it's a funny situation, that, isn't it?
It is a difficult situation, but again, I think it's the way to get around these things is by showing all of these points. You've got to you've got to explain it. It's not enough just to put the documents in. You've got to be able to explain it bit by bit. At Kenneth Jones, for example, we will put a detailed cover letter together when we do these applications. So when I use the word cover letter, people usually think a couple of lines, please find enclosed, but it isn't. We'll go through all the elements of the requirements within the immigration rules and explain exactly how they're met. So, for example, if it is an elderly couple that wants to come over, you need to explain the fact that, they've lived their whole life there. Why would you want to be uprooting and moving to a different country when everything that you know is there, including your extended family members there, including any properties you have, businesses you have.
Sometimes they've got more links to the country they're coming from than over here. So chances of them, and especially at that age, chances of them relocating here, they won't like the weather for one. So
there's that, and there's the fact that their life back in, for example, Pakistan might be of a much better living standard than if they were to move here to the UK anyway. I think we were just generally having a conversation at the office
earlier on,
about how life would be better in countries
At
like
least you got
Pakistan and
someone
India.
to cook and clean
Cook and
for
clean
you.
for you as well. So the standard of living would be better in some of these countries as well. So why would they want to uproot from that and come and live in the UK? I think it's a misconception by the Home Office that the whole of the Asian subcontinent wants to come and relocate to the UK. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a case that people want to visit,
Yeah.
see where family members here are, how they live here, but ultimately go back to the life that they have, because they do have a good life there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So, one other thing that I did want to discuss, Ajaz, before we move on to business
Yeah, okay,
aspects,
yes.
is the no time limit visa.
Okay.
Now, people who've got indefinite leave to remain, and before biometrics cards were introduced, etc., they used to have stamps and stickers put into their passports showing that they've got indefinite leave to remain. Now, what we're finding is that people who are looking for jobs and things, when they show these passport with the stamps and the stickers, the employers are no longer kind of accepting it, saying, no, you need a biometrics card, even though legally they don't, and that is absolutely fine. They are being told that they're not going to be offered this job because of the fact that they haven't
Yes.
got the biometrics card to prove that they've got a right to
Yes.
work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what people have been able to do is apply for what's called a no time limit visa, which is basically showing that we've got indefinite leave to remain. I've been here for a certain amount of time, and there shouldn't be any limits on me being able to stay in the country or spend years out of the country as well. What's recently changed is there's no charge for this now.
Oh,
when you
really?
Yes. Before, there used to be just over £200 they used to charge just to change your visa over into that no time limit aspect. But now they've taken it away since the fee changes happened this April, and you don't have to pay for this anymore. So it's a good
So
idea to get it done.
is that just for the ones who had the stickers in their, indefinite leave stickers in their passports? Or for instance, there's a lot of people who got indefinite leave, but with a biometrics card, and that
can do it as well.
biometrics card expires.
No, they can do it as well, because the no time limit bit comes in where somebody wants to spend obviously more time out of the UK than they're allowed to with indefinite leave to remain. So
Right.
they can do it as well. But remember, with a biometrics card, it's always like a driving license. So it does need to be renewed. There's always going to be a time limit on there because there's a picture on there, so they'll want to update that.
Update the picture. Yeah.
So that's. But at some point before that's due, you're likely to be able to apply for British citizenship if that's.
What's the What's the standard time limit on one of those cards?
It's varying at the moment, actually, because I think they're bringing in a new system where they're going to be doing checks online, like they do with the EU settlement scheme.
Okay.
So at the moment, a lot of the biometrics cards are actually expiring within in 2024.
Okay.
So a lot of them are the.
So they're
indefinite
even though
to
they're issuing
remain
them now, they expire in 2024.
2024.
So if for instance we have a client who's just got their indefinite leave, they'll find it rather unfair that in 2024 they have to spend another 150 odd pounds maybe.
Well, I think that potentially they're trying to bring in an online system so that any checks that would need to be done would be done online, and these cards wouldn't really hold any value as such.
Okay.
So you'd be able to prove it online. But again, that doesn't help those people that have no access to internet or don't have an understanding of the internet, because if they then want to prove their rights, they're not going to be able to do that. So, but they've been trialing it with the EU settlement scheme, where everything's done pretty much online. All the application bits, the uploading, everything really gets done online, and then even the checking system, you get a share code which you can share with employers and things for them to be able to check that you've got a right to work. So I think that's what they're moving towards, but they're not quite there yet. So I think they're probably giving themselves a deadline of 2024.
So what would I'll be asking you about if there's any fee changes in a second, but before moving on to that, something came to my mind. If someone has applied for extension, for instance, to their visa, and I don't know, it's been 8 months, 7-8 months, and they've not heard back, what could they do?
They've got to keep chasing the Home Office, so make sure that you're sending the emails and the letters and things. And if that's still not working, then I would suggest a pre-action protocol letter, which is basically saying to the Home Office that you're taking an unreasonable amount of time to make a decision on this. We're giving you 2 weeks to explain the reason and what you're going to be actually doing about it. And if not, then we will basically submit a judicial review to the High Court to get the matter sorted out.
Okay.
So
okay.
that has worked, to be honest. But you need to back that up with evidence that you've been chasing it as well.
Yeah, of course, of course. Well, I think that don't they say you shouldn't be chasing for about 6 months? They say don't chase us for 6 months. That's their standard response, isn't it?
It is their standard response, but unfortunately, with the human rights application, so anybody who's applying really under the FLRFP forms, they're finding that they're not getting decisions back 8, 9, 10 months later. Some people have been waiting over a year because they've got delays, which they're trying to blame on COVID. Obviously, when things shut down at the beginning, they started getting a bit of a backlog. So those particular applications I know had taken an awful long time, but pre-action protocol letters is probably the best way forward on there. But do at least a few months worth of chasing them. They do respond to emails.
Okay.
I found it's not the response you want because they're telling you that it's in a queue and you've got to wait your turn. But at least you've been trying to chase that up.
But they charge for those emails, don't they?
No,
no.
The in-country ones don't get charged for.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And most of your legal representatives would have email addresses that they would send to, depending on what type of application you've actually put in.
Okay. That's interesting. So, shall we now move on to business immigration?
Yes.
I mean, that seems to be a big topic at the moment. There seems to be a lot of either people on looking for or on either permits, work permits, or there's various other routes available for people to either come into the country temporarily or come into the country and legalize their stay for a long term as well. What would you like to start with?
Should we start with the innovator visa?
Yeah, let's go with the innovator visa. That seems to be a hot topic at the moment.
It is because I mean,
Can you? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not doing well with the mic today, am I? I think what people have found is the Home Office have got rid of a lot of the options that were available to them before, like the entrepreneur visa, like the investor visa, sole representatives. They've basically got rid of those. So there's very little left in terms of how people would be able to come over here for business purposes.
Sure.
And the innovator visa seems to be the good one at the moment, where you don't need as much of an investment as the other visas required you to have to begin with.
Oh, yes.
Which is a good
It was a good amount. A good amount. It was 250,000. The one was, and then obviously you had the 2 million.
Yes, investor visa was in the millions.
Yeah. So
and there were restrictions on where you had to invest that money as well.
yeah, there
so
was.
you
There
were
was.
really-
I know we did some investor visas, and yeah, they couldn't put it in property, etc.
No.
So you had to.
And some of it had to be in government guilds at some point. So it was very restrictive. I know that our clients found it very restrictive. Whereas something like this visa, the initiative visa, that number one, the investment amount is much lower. It's 50,000. And you set up your own business, so you're using yourself.
Yeah.
So you're not having to rely on somebody else's business, their visions, and all of those things, and you're able to grow that business. And that's the whole idea. So with the visa, though, the only kind of, I guess, issue is that it needs to be an idea that's quite unique.
Yes. So it can't be run of the mill. Oh, for instance, we've just been joined by Arsh in readiness for his show in 10, 15 minutes time. So it can't be anything that Arsh does because everyone seems to be on that bandwagon because he's making sure they are. So
I'm not quite sure what he does.
well, he does
so I can't
property.
answer that.
It is anything to do with property. You know, Arsh is the person who you need to speak to. Hold on. What number are you, Arsh?
Well, if he does property,
Yes.
then as we were discussing with regards to some of our other clients this morning,
Yes.
you can't just have property development. That in itself is not a unique idea.
Well, it's in the name, isn't it? If you innovation, so obviously it needs to be something different. Yes, it can be property, but it has to be something new,
different.
something
it has to
different.
be unique within a niche within that industry itself.
Yeah.
So, but what we're able to do when we're putting these things together, we can actually help people right from the start, from the point that they get their vision of what they want to do. We can help them develop that vision before they go down the process of actually applying for the visa.
Into the business plan, etc.
We take it kind of from the cradle to grave aspect of it in
Yeah.
that respect. So we can help you the whole way through. And the good thing about this visa is if you are granted it and you follow through with all that's expected, the requirements that are expected of you, then within 3 years, you're able to settle here in the UK as well, if that's your long-term
Absolutely,
goal.
yeah.
And you're able to bring over your spouse and your children. So
Yeah, that might be a popular one with a lot of people. I guess because it's not, as I said, the initial investment isn't a huge investment. Obviously, it's not for everyone because there's obviously language skills, etc., that need to be satisfied. But I think it will be popular.
I think it is a popular one, but as long as you've got to be really, how can I put it? You need to have the ideas and you need to put them into a business plan properly,
Yeah.
because it all has to be endorsed by companies. You see, it doesn't just, you can't just put a business plan to the Home Office and say,
Yeah.
this is my idea. It first has to be endorsed by a different company, and only then will it be accepted by the government itself. So, like I said, we can at Kenneth Jones, we can help you definitely in terms of
To get the
once
endorsement?
You've got the idea, put the business plans together and everything, and get the endorsement. Then we can help you get the visa at the end of that.
Well, brilliant. Right, Arsh, how are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you, very well.
Welcome to my show.
Yeah. I'm dressed like I'm sitting in an igloo. But
Yeah, I thought you were about to go watch a football match or something.
no, I always, in Ramadan, I always get quite cold.
I agree with you there. I'm the same.
Temperature drops.
Yeah, I'm the same, especially in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, lack of food, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know,
Lack of food, lack of sleep.
yeah. Well, you know, I've got a bit more insulation than you, so I'm doing okay.
I did think it wasn't that cold when we came in as the temperature dropped.
No, it does have an effect. It does. I mean, at home, you know, I'm always, as soon as I get home, I'll be, you know, under the radiator. sit
Not
next to the
anymore
radiator.
with the price rises. People
Oh.
can't afford to put the radiator on, can they?
Energy
Energy
costs.
costs.
Absolutely soared.
No, that's true. That's true. We'll have to do something about that.
I think, well, I don't know. Personally, I think there's going to be some comeback of that.
There will be. There will.
The problem is it's everything. It's not just the energy prices. Then you've got the fuel, petrol, diesel. Then you've got the food prices, everything going up. There's
Tell you
gonna-
what, let's leave this for Arsh's show. Right? We're talking immigration.
No, I'm not talking about that. Yeah, but as part of immigration, you have to look at cost of living.
Cost of living, yeah. Why do people want to come here? Look at the cost of living.
Well, no, before they used to come here because quality of life.
Yes.
As part of quality of life, if you can't afford to live the life that you want, or that's a big part of it.
Mm.
So yeah.
And a lot of people actually that come over here from the Indian subcontinent, what I found is they send money back to help the families
That's true.
back home.
That's true.
But if you can't afford to live here yourself, you're not going to be having much left over. to
But a
send
lot of
back
the
here.
times that the people that they're sending money to don't really care if your standard of living isn't that great, as long as they're not suffering.
It's true because I know some friends that are builders, etc. They make okay money. And yes, when we ask, what do they do with their funds, they're building a 7-bed house for their parents back home
Yeah.
in India.
Yeah.
And so they're not living in a 7-bed house here, are they?
No.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. So that reminds me of a comment I heard many years ago. I've mentioned my father a few times on your show, Ash, but my father was about to build a 7-8 bed house over in Pakistan, and he'd seen someone's plans, and he said, "Oh, I want to see those plans again." He saw them on the plane, so he went to his house. It was and the guy he went with, he saw the house from outside. He says, "Why we not get his plans for? It was a old mid-terrace property." He says, "He lives in a kukur koti here. What type of koti will it be over there?" So yeah, that's often the situation. Right, moving back to immigration advice-wise. Do you have any other types of business visas that you can, guide people to, or advise on, or even maybe inform of?
Inform of.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've got the usual, which is the tier 2 visas, where people
Yes.
come over for work purposes.
Mm-hmm.
For that, you need to find a business that you're going to be working for that's got a sponsorship license.
There's a few in Wolverhampton I've come across recently. There's a few in Wolverhampton. One, I think it's these guys. So
That's essential. If you want to employ a migrant worker, then
Yeah.
you have to have a sponsorship license.
Mhm.
So if you are a migrant yourself or looking to come into the UK and you want to do it for work purposes, then you do have to find a company that would be in a position to employ you on that basis. So that's the main thing. If you can do that, and then you meet the other requirements of salary, etc., with that company, then you shouldn't have a problem with getting your visa that way. I think one of the other things that's changed recently is there's the global business mobility visa that's come out.
Oh, yes.
That's more for the overseas firms who want to establish some sort of footprint
Over
in
here.
the UK.
Yes.
And it helps them to have people come over as on a secondment, or if they've got a senior specialist that's needed for a situation here. So it's those sorts of workers that will benefit, and it'll allow businesses from abroad to set up here in the UK as well, which goes a little bit towards.
But I'm assuming the visas that the people get on those
on that particular
route, I'm assuming that's a temporary visa.
one. It is.
And it doesn't lead to.
It's granted 1 year at a time, and it doesn't lead to settlement.
So the best one for settlement that you've mentioned is the innovator then.
Yeah, there's the innovation one, and there's a startup. For
Oh
startup
yes, there's a startup
businesses.
visa as well, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yes.
I mean they're very, very similar,
Similar.
to be honest. But the startup one, as it suggests, it's for a completely new business as such. So it gives you slightly different kind of requirements, easier requirements. But then the startup visa you can get for 2 years,
Yeah.
and then after that you can't extend it again. You'd have to then move into the innovator visa category.
So that the
So-
startup doesn't in itself lead to settlement.
No.
You would have to move from
You'd have
once.
to move
So
from
yeah, you'd have
that.
to move categories.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but with all of these, especially the business visas, we can take you through it step by step for your own personal business needs, and then work out the plan that's kind of tailored for your business. I don't think you can just set out that this is what can be done for each business. It depends on your individual needs,
Yeah.
what type of business you've got, and then taking you through that whole
So-
process.
The initial outlay for a startup visa, is that cheaper than the innovation visa?
Yes, it's slightly cheaper. So you've got probably a couple of thousand cheaper.
Yeah. Okay.
But then you have to weigh it up with the fact that the innovator visa will lead to settlement faster, as long as you do what your business has said it's going
But
to do.
the reason I asked that question, to be fair, was some may not be able to afford the dearer, innovation visa at the outset. But once they have that startup running for 2 years, they may be able to afford, making income to afford the transit across.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's slightly, not slightly easier, but it's got less requirements than the innovator one. So you've got that chance to build up your new business. It's got to be a new business. You've
Yeah.
got that chance to build that up before you move on to the
The other
innovator one.
question is that for innovation has to be a new idea. Startup,
It's still got to show innovation.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the requirement's
Okay.
still there. Innovation, viability, and scalability. Those are the three things that you
Three
have
criteria.
Three criteria for
Okay.
both the visas. That's why I say they're very similar.
Okay, brilliant. And we missed out on the fees earlier on. Standard immigration fees
They have increased.
as
but
of 5th of
not-
April, is it?
6th of April.
6th of April.
Yep, but thankfully it's not been major increases. You've only seen like between £15 to £30 increases in things like the extension visas, etc. So it's not been major. But then on the other hand, like I said, with the no time limit one, they've cut the fee completely. So, but make sure you check what the new fees are, which are
Okay.
available on the government websites.
Okay, brilliant. Right, Sejal, thank you for your time. Thank you for all the advice and help that you've given to our listeners and viewers. We'll probably get you on at some point again, if not this year, then next year. Guys, this is the end of our show. Arsh will be taking over shortly. Next week, we should have a show on family law, and we should have the Vice President of the Law Society of England and Wales here in the studio. So if any questions, you are welcome to call in then and ask her. Maybe even to budding lawyers. Right. Allah Hafiz. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The death of a loved one is a very emotional and challenging time for the family members of the deceased. Al Mu'min Funeral Services have been supporting families across the UK since 2005. Their professional, experienced and quality service ensures the whole process from release from hospital to burial is taken care of respectfully and efficiently. They also specialise in worldwide repatriations, assisting to take loved ones to Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Iraq or anywhere worldwide. almu'minfunerals.co.uk, your trusted funeral service.
Do you have a family member that's passed away and you would like someone to assist you in legal advice? Kenneth Jones Solicitors has been providing legal services for businesses and individuals since 1986. We specialise in probate, Islamic wills and family law. We also offer services in conveyancing, immigration and personal injury. Contact us today on 01902 745 773 or visit us on our website at kenneth-jones.co.uk.
Betsy's Burgers taste flippin' awesome. Betsy's world famous burgers are coming soon to Wolverhampton and Wednesfield. Prepare for sizzling hot smash burgers, bubbling mac and cheese, and sensational sides.